Before we begin, let's slow this moment down. This isn't about fireworks. It isn't about parades or speeches polished by hindsight. This is about the space between freedom declared and freedom delivered. 1. What moment are we entering? Galveston, Texas, June 19th, 1865. The air is thick with heat and salt. The Gulf presses its breath into the streets, and the sun settles heavily on shoulders already carrying too much. People move carefully, not out of fear exactly, but out of habit. There have been rumors. Whispers pass between kitchens and fields. Half-heard truths that sound dangerous to repeat out loud. Something has changed, but no one is certain yet. Juneteenth doesn't begin with shouting, it begins with waiting. 2. What misconception exists? We remember emancipation as instant, a proclamation signed, chains falling away, history snapping cleanly into a new shape, but freedom didn't arrive everywhere at the same time. It traveled slowly, by ship, by rumor, by word of mouth. It crossed hostile land and passed through unwilling hands. In Galveston, emancipation arrives 2.5 years late. That delay is uncomfortable to acknowledge because it forces us to confront how justice depends not just on intention, but on delivery. 3. What was truly at stake? Time. Not just days or months, but lives measured in labor, separation, exhaustion. Every delayed hour meant more work done under coercion, more families kept apart, more futures narrowed before they could widen. Delayed freedom doesn't pause suffering, it compounds it. Trust was also at stake. The trust that words from far away would ever reach the ground. The trust that justice once spoken would actually show up. Juneteenth carries the weight of all that waiting. 4. Why does this moment still matter? Because justice delayed reshapes lives permanently. Even when freedom finally arrives, it arrives unevenly into bodies. Worn down by expectation and disappointment, it arrives into communities forced to reconcile joy with anger, relief with grief. Juneteenth reminds us that the moral arc of history does not bend on its own. It has to be carried, often by people who were never meant to wait this long. That lesson hasn't expired. 5. Why does the walk begin here? Because freedom begins with knowledge. Before celebration, there's understanding. Before joy, there's the moment when truth finally lands. Quietly, heavily, irrevocably. The walk begins in that heat, in that stillness, because that is where freedom first becomes real. Not as an idea, but as a fact. Not shouted, spoken. That's why this moment matters. Not because freedom was granted, but because it was delayed. And when the walk begins, it begins there, where knowledge arrives first, and everything else must follow.